Yeah. So usually if I had to choose between being in a deserted beach and being out here in nature, I would usually go for being at a deserted beach. Yet today's actually kind of nice being out in nature because I haven't been out in nature for such a while that, just being out here in this totally different environment, I get these new realizations that come over me. For example, out here it's easier to just feel how everything is interconnected. And being in a big city like LA County, sometimes some of these resources, which at least appear limited, such as space on the highway during rush hour, can create this vibe of separatism, so to speak. And the true nature of who we are is that we are all interconnected. We are all a part of an aspect of the source, an aspect of the universal energy. And that's like our true nature. So it's like what I realized the other day was I was going out with a family during Christmas Eve, and I just felt this anxiety of like, what if because back in the day, like I got a lot of unsolicited advice from family members, and it hasn't been as bad lately, or hasn't even been bad at all, but there's still these lingering parts of you that worry, like, oh, what if this happens? What if, there's like that, it's almost like a PTSD thing where you have to prepare for the worst anyways. And I was coming up with these methods of like how to deal with unsolicited advice. And a video that I made but I didn't release, it was like 3 methods of how to deal with unsolicited advice. And one of the methods was like this. It came from this mentality that the person who's giving you unsolicited advice is doing an energy draining technique. For example, if I got turned around here because there's the gate, but if you keep getting unsolicited advice all day long, then it would probably drain your energy. Probably by the end of the day, when you showed up at home, you'd be energy drained due to one person giving you advice, another person giving you advice, and stuff like that. Yet, this is an energy draining method, we could say, or that's what I thought. And this mentality came from that in this situation, the other person is trying to frame the situation where they're like the mentor person, and you're like the mentee, and therefore they're trying to push the situation in this frame where you're the small one, where you're the mentee, you're the person who asks for advice, who doesn't know it on their own. And while this may or may not be their true intention, the important thing here is, so you'll have to respond a certain way. And what does your response imply? And in this the last video I made, I was saying that you got to basically, this person is sending energy at you. They're sending, we could say, a lower frequency energy at you. And what you got to do is, they're sending this energy at you, and you got to like absorb more energy than they send at you, absorb energy from them, and make a, I'm on to meditation stuff and stuff like that, and make a psychic shield filter, and gather energy from them, purify it, and then instead of them doing a energy draining method, flip it on them and drain energy from them, essentially. That was one of the methods. And another method was basically prayer, that they probably see themselves as small if they have to give advice. And this is the only one of those 3 methods right now that I can say is a decent method to use, And the third method is basically combining the prayer and the energy gathering. Yeah, so after I made this video, I didn't release it because something about it didn't seem right to me. And so I had a few days to think on it, and what the impression that I got was that it's what this energy gathering implies is it implies a sense of separatism. It implies like, oh, there's him and then there's me, and I'm gonna like gather energy from him, and it's okay because he's kind of separate from me. And although the person may be putting out, even if like, okay, even if the person is trying to frame the scenario where they're the small one in this situation, if they're trying to frame the scenario, then yes, they may be coming from a place of separatism towards you, but that doesn't mean that you have to come from a place of separatism towards them, because I believe that, and from what I've experienced, that that's a harmful thing, because it's like we're all interconnected, and it's like, okay, let's put it this way, it's like the tree, you know, I see a lot of trees because I'm in nature, but like the tree gets its power, gets its life from its interconnectedness to the sun, and yeah, and its interconnectedness to the ground to grab nutrients and stuff like that. So by its nature, these trees get their energy from their interconnectedness to everything else. Just like, it's kind of like we all get our energy on like a grander, more pure level. We get our true power, our like God power, our universal energy power, whatever you want to call it, from our interconnectedness to all things. That's what our true power is. It's like we are the source energy manifested, like a certain aspect. Like I'm a unique aspect of the source energy, and so are you. And just as the tree would lose its power if it denied its interconnectedness with the ground, assuming that the tree could like get up and walk away, and if it got up and walk away, then it denied its connectedness to the ground, it wouldn't be able to like get these nutrients and stuff like that. Just like I believe there's so much to be gained from realizing your connectedness with all, because it's like what they say, God is all powerful, God is all loving, and God is all these qualities, the source, whatever you want to call it, is all these qualities to like their highest degree. And this comes from like our interconnectedness and realizing it, and realizing once again that I'm a unique aspect of the source, and so are you. And when like if I were to do an energy gathering method like what I originally stated, it's almost like it implies something that goes against my belief of being part of the source. And since this goes against my belief, like that we are all connected, this interconnectedness, then it's something that like appears that it could empower you, but it's actually like disempowering, because it's like I believe that our like realizing our interconnectedness obviously would enhance our psychic ability, because it gives us the power of the atoms, like the history of the atoms in our body. It gives us the power of, you know, like, because one atom in my hand originally came from a potato I ate in a burrito I had, for example, and this atom from the burrito came from the ground, and this atom from the ground came from like a leaf, and this atom in the leaf came from like the ground again, and this atom from the ground may have came from a coyote that died. So it's like within each atom of your body is like this history of great power, and with this interconnectedness of the atoms within each atom. Okay, so let's say there's that big cycle that I just said, and it came from a dead coyote, and then that atom is connected to all the atoms that were in that dead coyote. And then one of the atoms that is in that dead coyote may have gone into the ground and gone through that big cycle, and then gone into tomato, and then gone into like a burger that your friend ate, your friend who you may be annoyed with right now or something like that. And it's like time doesn't exist, so to speak. I mean, it does, but it's like it's like more of our perception of reality. So therefore, these atoms have all this power with them, all this interconnectedness, and it's like you are connected to your friend somehow on a atomic physical level, whether it's like, I don't know, through that dead coyote, we could say, where the atom, that atom is like now part of his arm because he ate the burger. And yeah, whether it's that or some other means of connection. I mean, when it comes down to it, we're all connected. I'm using this coyote as an analogy. Yet when it comes down to it, we're all connected through the earth, because this atom, which was in my burrito, came from the ground because the potato plant grabbed its nutrients from the ground, and then someone you know ate came from the ground too. And it's like, if we believe that earth is an organism, which I do, it's like all these different atoms are all interconnected, because at some point in the time wave they are part of the same thing, which was what I was getting at with the coyote analogy. Yet earth is just seeing it on a grander perspective. Yeah, so my point with all this is that, what does your response to that unsolicited advice imply? Because you could do the energy gathering method, and it may seem in the short term like it helps you gain energy. But I mean, through this disconnect of our reality of connectedness, it could in the long term be disempowering. And it's like a few of the ways that I've dealt with it is by coming from like my God self perspective, and remembering that it's like they are my creation, seeing it like that, helping like me seeing the person as my creation. It comes from like a perspective, it comes from the I am God perspective. It's coming from my deeper self, because when it comes down to it, they are my creation and I am my creation. Because just like we could even say that I am your creation on a deeper level, and like you're your creation, because this creative part of us is the same thing. It's the source. And thinking about it like that allows me to come at it from a perspective of like a perspective that implies that's more in alignment with truth, and then after thinking of it like that, you could decide whatever else you want to say to the person. Yeah, and in regards to whatever else you say to the person, it's like you could still uphold your boundaries, because that's important. You can still uphold your boundaries while knowing that that person is your creation, so to speak. And some stuff like that takes courage. And it's like, I'm up here in the mountains, and I mean, I just couldn't find any other good place to record my videos. And yeah, I couldn't find any other good place to record my videos, and this seems pretty good right now. Yet when I came up here, I've seen mountain lions before, I've seen bears before, and I know the risks, even though they may be small, that come with coming up here. And it's like, and it's like the thing that they say, you get out of your comfort zone, and it's beautiful up here. And I haven't been out in nature in a long time, and it's really refreshing. It's almost like the opposite of the big city. And probably the same thing. You gotta you and I too, because I gotta work on this too, got to get out of our comfort zones. And probably once we get out of our comfort zones when it comes to dealing with unsolicited advice, then on the other side will be the beautiful lush forest, so to speak. And that's pretty much it. Peace.